Well, good afternoon on this snowy Wednesday. It's a little late. I'm a little behind today. Sorry, I meant to get on here. I'm trying to do these around, I don't know, about between 2 and 2:30. Just kind of jump on here and give you all a midweek update of what's happening here in the life of Harrison First United Methodist Church. It is cold outside. Yes, winter's back, of course, as everyone can tell. We got a little snow out there. It's pretty. We'll leave it at that. Other than that, thankfully the roads weren't too bad for my little drive-in this morning, and I was able to make it in nice and safe and sound. Just wanted to let you know what's going on in the life of the church this week. We're going to continue next week on Monday with our coffee and conversations. We've had a couple of those now, but we're going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to try for a different time this go round, and I'm going to ask for your help on that. So we had been doing them at 10 o'clock, and that seemed to be okay for some, but not for others. And I really want to try to focus on, find a time that maybe works a little bit better. So if you would, drop me a note in the box below, in the comment box there, about what time you're available if you would like to join us for these conversations. We were doing them at 10 o'clock. We can go a little earlier. I can do them from a remote location instead of getting here at the office and doing them, or maybe we can do them midday around the lunch hour, or maybe there's another time that works even better for you. I'm very flexible in my schedule, and so I want to do what's best to try to really get to know the most people. And that's really what we're doing in these conversations. We're getting to know each other a little bit better. I'm hearing about some of the things that you love about the church and some of the things, maybe some of your hopes and dreams for the church. And so that's really what our conversation centers around. Talk a little bit about ministry opportunities and just things you'd like to see happen right here at First UMC Harrison. And so that's what our conversation will be around. I hope you will try to join us this coming Monday. Again, I'll put a Zoom link out once we kind of get a time nailed down, and I'll keep you updated as far as that goes. As of right now, yes, we are continuing with our live stream worship. We're not doing in-person worship as of right now. We haven't really broken that threshold that the conference wants us to break in order to have in-person worship. I know there are some areas close by that have gone back to in-person worship, but let me tell you one thing that I think. One of the worst things I think we could do at this point is for us to open back up. We start in-person worship, and then we get another spike, and we have to close back down again. I don't think anybody wants to do that. Once we open back up, my hope and dream is that we are able to stay open for the duration, and we won't have to shut back down. And so we are going to make those decisions on when we go back to in-person worship with an abundance of caution and making sure we really see the positive trends that the Arkansas Conference is encouraging us to look for in our numbers here in our local community. They're not doing it statewide. They're wanting us to focus on the local community, which I think is important. And so we'll do that. And folks, I know it seems like it's been forever. I know for me, it's been a little frustrating not having a congregation that I can meet. And I like to preach to people, not just, I love that my wife and, can sit there and then those that are running our sound equipment can sit and listen. But it sure would be nice to see some other faces and really to get a chance to meet you all. That's been difficult, is trying to feel connected to a new church when I haven't been able to meet very many of you. I have met some wonderful people, though, so far. They've been gracious. They have been kind. They have brought us treats and goodies, which unfortunately I like a little bit too much, but that's okay. Don't stop. I'm not trying to discourage you at all for that. I just need to learn a little bit more self-control. That's all there is to that. But we will continue with our live stream worship this coming Sunday at 10:45. We're going to be on Facebook right here on our Facebook page. So look for the notification in your on your Facebook page that Harrison First UMC is live, and then you just follow that link, and you'll pick up our live stream. We've kind of switched over from YouTube for the live stream for the next couple weeks because I think that we can reach more people, and that's really what it's all about. I want us to try to connect with as many people as possible. And I think Facebook is a little bit better platform for that. And so we're going to do primary Facebook live until we figure out, we're still trying to figure out how to do both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Our technology, our software says we can do it, but unfortunately, I'm not smart enough, and the guys that are helping us run the equipment, we have yet to figure that one out. I'm not going to say they're not smart enough because I know they are. We just got to figure out a couple little bugs to make it happen so we can do both at the same time. But until then, we'll go live on Facebook, and then later in the afternoon, the video will get posted to our YouTube channel. So that'll be this Sunday, and we're going to continue our series this Sunday entitled Anxious for Nothing. This week, we're looking at the topic of peace, and more importantly, how to find peace in the midst of a storm. You see different scenarios. We've talked about some of these different passages in the Bible where the disciples may have found themselves in the midst of a storm, and they saw Jesus speak calm into the storm. But how do we take that and apply it to our own lives if we find ourselves in the midst of a storm? And maybe that's a financial storm, an emotional storm, something to do with our job, our home life, or maybe maybe a blizzard happens and you find yourself in an actual storm. Who knows? There's all different ways we can look at how to handle the storms of life. And the most important thing is we find the ability to have peace. Not just our peace. That doesn't tend to do us a lot of good. But more importantly, we find God's peace. So that's what we're going to look at this Sunday. Again, join us if you're able at 10:45. If not, the recorded version of our service will be online as well, on Facebook and on YouTube. But I hope you join us live. It sure would be nice to get as many people live on there as possible. And then what you can do is you can kind of interact a little bit, drop a comment in the box to let us know you're there. You can share the live stream on your own personal page. Did you know you could do that? You can actually do that. You can share. There's different things called like hosting watch parties. So you can share with your friends that, hey, this is my church. This is what we're doing to reach people during this time of a pandemic. And so I hope you'll join us this Sunday at 10:45 for worship. So last week I threw out some questions talking about what's your favorite place to eat. Well, let's not talk about food today. Don't need to talk about food. We're going to talk about something else. What about reading? Do you like to read books? What are some of your favorite books? I'm going to show you some of mine. This one here, this is by a guy by the name of Frederick Buechner. It's called The Remarkable Ordinary: How to Stop Looking and Listen to Life. And this is a really good book. I really enjoyed reading this. And what's funny about Frederick Buechner is that the first time I read a book by him, I absolutely hated it. I found it almost painful to read. But the second time I read it through, somebody encouraged me to read through a couple times. And the second time I'm like, okay, now I kind of get it. You ever find one of those books that you don't quite get the first time? Theology books are a lot like that for me. Other things like that are very much like that. But this has become one of my favorites. One that I really enjoy. I like devotionals, and this is the devotional I'm currently reading at night, and it is by J.D. Walt, who's also going to be doing our Bible study. It's called Wilderness, Global Pandemic Edition. How fitting is that? This is a devotional on Exodus and about what it really means to live in the wilderness, because oftentimes those metaphors get misunderstood. And this is something I want to read to you. This is just from the very first day. Um, and I think a lot of it will apply to what we're going to talk about this Sunday. And this is the lesson he talked about. He said, here's the lesson. He said, God's promises and prosperity transcend our circumstances, need or plenty, hungry or full. The secret is Christ in me. That right there is key. The secret is Christ in me. You know, oftentimes when we're seeking peace, we want to know that Christ is with us. But I think what's more important is that we know that Christ is in us. And so he goes on to talk about, he said, this is why the wilderness is the proving ground of the Holy Spirit, who takes our circumstances and translates them into the deep formation of Jesus Christ in us. Again, not with us, but in us. And this is the meaning of the wilderness, the strengthening of our souls in the midst of struggle through the power of the Holy Spirit. He goes on to quote that favorite hymn that we sung at the very beginning of our series of, by when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot has taught me to say, it is well. It is well with my soul. This is a great little book. You can get this through Seedbed. Also, if you are a Kindle reader and you like Kindle books, it is available on Kindle, so you don't have to wait for it to show up. You could start reading it right away. What about my other favorite books? This one right here. This one will rock your world, folks. This one is called Brushko, is how you pronounce that, and the Metaloni Miracle. This is about a missionary by the name of Bruce Olson. And I'm not going to tell you about the story. You need to read this one for yourself. It is a remarkable story about a man who is called to serve the Metaloni tribe in Colombia. And, well, you might know why I like stories about Colombia, and that's how I found that book. But the story is amazing. And finally, one of my other favorite authors, and I like just about anything he writes, but this one, I don't know, I really enjoyed this one. This one was by Eugene Peterson, called The Pastor. And this is his memoir. Eugene Peterson left us, it's been a little while ago. And this is really his life story. And so if you like Eugene Peterson, that's a great book to read. And those are just some of the books. I have others. I have lots of Eugene Peterson books. Another one I'll share with you at a later date, because I believe it's packed away in our boxes with our storage stuff. And there's a neat little thing on the inside of that that was not there when I bought the book, but again, there's a story behind it, and I'll share it with you at another time. So in the meantime, I hope you're having a great week, and make sure you make plans to join us this Sunday at 10:45 for worship, and we will continue in our series, Anxious for Nothing. Again, we're going to be looking at the whole idea of finding peace in the midst of a storm. Take care. God bless. Stay safe and warm. See you later, folks.